When I went for weekend shift, I'll go on Friday by 3 p.m. So the evening shift is 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. That's one shift. From 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. that's 8 hours. And then from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. the following morning, that's another shift again. So on Friday, I will work from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. and then I will continue from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. on Saturday morning. So I've made 16 hours. I'll go home, I'll rest a little bit. I'll come back again. 3 p.m. on Saturday, I'll come back. Then I will make 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. on Saturday. Then I will make from 11 to 7 a.m. on Sunday. That's another 8 hours. So by 7 a.m. on Sunday, I'll leave again. I'll go home. Not because I'm not studying. I'm studying the best that I could. We'll sleep in the library. Like when you're tired, we'll put chairs together. Like we don't even want to go to our rooms. We'll put chairs together in the library. We'll study. We'll sleep on the wood, and then we'll wake up again. You know, all those kind of crazy study, you know. We'll get our blankets and go to the library and stay there all night, you know. Share the scripture, then we'll hold hands, we'll pray, we'll agree together that this time around we're going to pass, you know. And something was so confident in me that we have prayed and we are studying. But at the end of the prayer, we'll still go there and fail, you know. 3 of us will still fail. I was ashamed of praying and failing. It looks as if I'm not spiritual enough.
If you're watching this video and you have not subscribed to this channel, then I don't know what you're waiting for. Please subscribe to this channel because we have mind-blowing testimonies. We've shot some amazing testimonies that we can't wait to just release it. We are releasing once a week. Hopefully, eventually, we'll be able to release 2 or 3 times in a week. So please click on the subscribe button and click on the notification bell to get notified each and every time I release a new video. And also, if you're looking for a team, a media company to shoot your commercials, to shoot your weddings, to shoot your parties, or to give you some headshots for your flyers and everything, reach out to my team. That is DH Multimedia. On Instagram, you can DM us or you can give us a call and we would take a very good care of you. Let's get into the testimony. Welcome to another episode of the Dennis Benson Show. You know how we do it. It's all about sharing our testimonies and our life stories. I'm here in Maryland with my sister, Bumi. Bumi, welcome to the show.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for watching.
In part 1, we had Bumi and her husband telling us about their life story, how they met, the challenges, the adversities that they faced in their marriage, and how they moved to America. So today we're going to talk about their life here in America, how, what are some of the challenges that they went through and how God brought them out of those challenges. So Bumi, where are we starting from today?
Anyways, we're going to start from wherever you choose that we start from. Do you want us to start from why did I go to pharmacy school, how I went to pharmacy school, you know?
Sure.
Yeah, so we can definitely start from there.
Let me start from back home. So what did you study back home?
Okay, so back in Nigeria, I studied agricultural economics and extension. Agricultural economics and extension, so yeah. And it's got nothing to do with pharmacy. Even though I've always been a science student back in high school, you know, we call it secondary school back in Nigeria. So we did the chemistry, the physics. And what I studied, the agri-economics, you actually need to be a science student. It's kind of funny because when you listen to it, like agriculture and then economics, then you think, what has it got to do with science? Because it sounds like agriculture. And then I don't know if you guys know anything agriculture. Like it used to be a subject.
Oh, so Ghana, we have, I was a science student, so we have science and the agric students. I remember agric was kind of part of science during my time. So we had, my school, we had science 1, 2, 4 was the real science students, and the science 5 was the agric. So I think they were doing biology, chemistry, and something. Theirs was a bit different. So
okay.
Yeah, I don't know how yours was.
Yeah, so for me, I was a science student, so I did the chemistry, physics, biology, but agric was optional, you know. I think it was optional between agric and something. But however, when we get to the university, you know, the agriculture is kind of different a little bit, you know. It's not purely you would think you would be talking about farmland and farmyards. No, it's it's kind of mixed with it. I mean, it's just you just have to be a science student to do it. Even me, I'm looking at the sense in there, like, why do we need to be science? So that has always given me like a science background. So when I came to America, and what we've often heard back home in Nigeria is when you come to America, you start all over again. Like that was the story. Even though that is not all the way true, now that I know what I know, it's not exactly true. In a way, it's true, and I'll break it down a little bit. So, if you do something back in Nigeria that is relatable to America or Americans, then you can continue. For example, if you did nursing back in Nigeria, if you come here, you don't have to go to nursing school. You don't have to do anything. The only thing you have to face is your nursing board exam. I think they call it NCLEX or something. NCLEX, yeah. So that's it. You have to, if you can pass that, I know people will go for some tutorials, lesson, but you don't really have to go back to school. So all what you have to do is sit down, study, maybe about 6 months of study, then go confront your exam. The same thing if you do pharmacy back in Nigeria, you can convert it. It's a process. I mean, it will take you about 2 years because you first of all have to do your conversion of result, and after that you have to do like some hours. You have to do FL, something they call, I didn't go that route, but it's a process. A lot of time it takes about 2 years to complete that process, and then for you to be able to write the NAPLEX. The NAPLEX is the pharmacy board exam. So if you do that back in Nigeria, of course you can bring it here and continue to be a pharmacist. The same thing with medicine. If you study medicine back home, you can come here. In my church that I go to, we have a lot of Nigerian doctors that's schooled in UI, OAU, like a lot of schools in Nigeria. But when they come here, it's always a challenge, but it is doable. It is definitely doable.
It's doable. You don't have to.
I know medicine will take like maybe 4 years or three, it takes a longer time, but it is doable. So, but when I came here, with the course that I studied back home in Nigeria, agroeconomics, I wouldn't know how to transition that in America anyway. Like I wouldn't know where do I want to work in. I mean, so it's a different ball game. So for me, I knew it was a start all over again. So I considered like, okay, now that I know that I'm going to start all over again, what do I want to do? I kept thinking about that. Nursing, it didn't appeal too much to me. Nursing is good, but the thing is, it's just like almost everybody when they come from Nigeria, what they just do is nursing. And I love to be different. I love to do something different entirely that people are not really doing. So nursing was not really appealing to me, so I considered pharmacy. Then partly when we're back in Nigeria, everybody just want to be either a medical doctor, engineer, lawyer. But one of my goals too was to be a pharmacist back in Nigeria. So when we feel there's something called a JAM form. JAM form is the exam you write, you take a JAM form, you write JAM to get to the university. So my first choice would always be medicine because my mom was a medical doctor. So I'll write medicine. Second choice, pharmacy. But I never got to do any of those things. So I'm like, I think it's a chance to revisit my childhood dream of either being a medical doctor or a pharmacist. Those are the two careers that I know for free that I always think about, doing in college. And back in Nigeria, where you can't get what you want to do, then you just get whatever is thrown at you. I mean, like whatever is thrown at you, you get it. So that's how I landed in agroeconomics. It wasn't like a passion or something. That's what they offered me. So I decided, I now told my friend that we were living together because when we came to America, of course, we were living with people first. I said I would desire to be a pharmacist. So if you can help me, like, what do I need to do? Da 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 da. So there is a community college. I went there to find out, what are the requirements, and they told me that I need to have certain classes, prerequisites, and stuff like that. And then I studied. I studied they gave me a brochure, and then I looked through it, and I saw that okay, these are the things I have to do.
So you started from scratch.
Scratch, like.
Oh, no. You transferred your credits.
I would have done that, but when I showed them just the transcript that I was holding, so the lady looked at it and said, "Not much of this we can transfer. Like, because you need like if we do agroeconomics, only the first year, my first year in college back in Nigeria, we did some sciences, we did the chemistry, we did physics, we did some sciences, but the lady looked at it and it was like, she was like, no, there is nothing much we can transfer from here. Maybe we can transfer this chemistry, however this is not yeah, I mean, everything was just discouraging, knowing that they couldn't get much to transfer from it. So I just didn't worry to go that route. Before I was doing, I think they call it WES, WES or something. You know how you, I think they're in New York, how you just like get your certificates to come from Nigeria. It goes to, I think it's WES, WES, if I still remember. It goes to them, they do the evaluation, they do everything. So I was about to start that process, but I just stopped. So I started purely from the scratch from community college. Like the only thing I didn't do was all of like those ESL, like because if you're coming from a foreign country, they would want you to do like ESLs, which are like English as a second language. That's what ESL means and stuff like that. But when I did the testing to get to community college, I blew. My grades were really high, so I didn't have to do that, so they skipped me. So I started from EGL 101, which is like the basic where even Americans will start from. Yeah, so that was my journey through community college. And then one thing that I want to mention is there is this guy that I met, during the course of me being in community college. He was a pharmacist and he's still a pharmacist. So, I always admire him, when he talks about the profession. And sometimes I will see him in his white coat when he's coming to visit. There is a friend of mine that he comes to visit. He will put on his white coat, He'll be like, oh, I'm just coming from work. It's my break time. So one day I called him. I said, you're a pharmacist and this is what I intend to do. Like, this is what my mind wants to do. So he listened and he said, you know what? If I'm going to be honest with you, I think you should do something else because pharmacy is not easy. Like, now I have a husband, I have a daughter because I came from Nigeria with my daughter. So we came in 2010. I started school 2011. It was, I would say barely, no. It was well over a year. Yeah, we came in January 2010 and I started school in the fall of 2011. So we came in January 2010, all through that year, we were trying to get settled because we first of all lived with people for about 5 months and then we got an apartment, and then we got a job, we were trying to settle into the process. So by the end of 2010, we were like well settled. We have our own place. So by 2011, I started to find out about school. So by the fall of 2011, I started school. So that was about a year plus. So the guy told me that it's a very difficult course to study with family, considering my daughter, you want to give attention, he advised me. And honestly, it's not being mean or he doesn't want me to do that, but from the way he can view it, it's like, no, you cannot do this, do something else because this demands time. And it's reading, like you have to read, like, yeah. So, and then of course it doesn't know my academic prowess, it doesn't know how smart or dull I am, so yeah. So well, I thanked him and he went his own way. But deep down me, I knew that I'm going to push for it, even though I don't know if I'm going to get it or not, because the community college I was going to, it was a lot of people saying, oh, this person didn't get it. Oh, that one now is the, we were hearing a lot of stories, and one of the things that, this is going to lead me to another story. Should I just keep going?
Keep going, yeah.
Okay. So one of the things that I did, I now listed some pharmacists over the time. I met some pharmacists as well because it's something that I have interest in doing. So when I talk to people and they say, oh, my friend is a pharmacist, or that one, I'll say, oh, can I meet your friend? I just wanted to ask a question, what was their process like, and a lot of those people went to school in America as well. So they would tell me, oh, yeah, we did farm. And even that same year I was studying community college, a friend's friend, she came from Atlanta. She came to Maryland and she was graduating pharmacy school that same year. So I was studying community college. She was graduating and I had opportunity to meet her, and she told me, yeah, it's doable. That's the same situation I was. I started too from community college. So when I look at those people.
From Nigeria too.
Yes, from Nigeria too. Okay. Yes. So when I looked at her, I get some inspiration because, she went the path that I went. She wasn't a pharmacist from Nigeria or from anywhere. She did it right here in America. So one thing I did, I listed out all the names. I will never forget all the names of the pharmacists that I know, the ones graduating. And that same year I started community college, I knew two pharmacists. They were friends of my friend. Yeah, the lady that we lived with. Those two were our friends. Then I got to meet them and they were graduating. So I was like, since they can do it, I can do it as well. So I listed out names of people that I know, including the one that told me that I couldn't do it because of the stress. And then I put them in my closet. And then I wrote, Lord, if they did it, I can. I listed all the names. And these are pharmacists that went to school in America. And I put them in my closet. And every day I'm going in and out in the closet. I'm looking at the list. Honestly, I should do something like that again because whatever thing I want to achieve now, I should do that because it worked. I will tell you for free that it did work. So every time I go in, the list is right in my face. So it's in my heart every day that I was gonna do it. I was gonna do it. Even though when I was in community college, I was working full time. I was even working overtime.
That's what I was gonna ask.
I was working full time. I was taking care of the family. I was doing everything and I was going to school. But the way God helped me with my job. So when I got a job, I got a job as a CNA certified nursing assistant. So, but I worked the night shift. Well, I didn't start with the night shift. I started with day shift. But day shift was so hard for me. In community college, you can either have morning classes or you can have evening classes. That's one thing I love about America, the flexibility of studies. Back in Nigeria, it's day classes. If you are in school or you're not in school, there's no, yeah, except you are doing some part-time programs. I think they've improved now, with some online programs as well. But that time, online schooling, that was not a thing. But anyways, I was not doing online schooling. I was doing physical presence. I was in class. So I started with day shift. But it was really hard for me because I would leave work, then I would go to school, and sometimes I'm exhausted, I'm tired. So, and meanwhile, while I was there, see, God works in different ways. I don't even know. God is just good. While I was there, our DON, the director of nursing, people do not really like her because they think she's not approachable, she's mean. But God just gave me favor with her. I was still telling my mom some weeks ago about this same story. Like God favored me with her. There is no time I write a letter that I want to change my shift. She would always approve it. And that time, night shift was difficult to get. Like almost all of us there, we were all students. Like it's a lot of it's a bunch of us Africans over there, like Nigerians, Ghanaians, Cameroonians. It's a lot of us working as CNA. But everybody, almost like the African community, almost like 90% were students. Everybody wants, a better life. So everybody wants night shift, but the night shift is so difficult to get. Like people don't get approved for it. Even some people will even drop out of school because they couldn't cope, because they're not approving their night shift or they get another job. So, but the thing with her is every time I write for a shift, I wrote for a night shift. I told her that I would love to work night shift. Boom, she stamped it, she approved it. So I switched to night shift. So when I leave night shift, I go home, take a shower. And the night shift, people, the residents that we're taking care of, they're also in bed, they're sleeping. And that gives us ample time to work on assignment. I will bring all my assignment from school. They know me, I have my corner. Once I say hello, maybe like for 20 minutes, I say hello to people. After that, I'll prepare my corner, my table chair. I will start studying. That doesn't still prevent me, it doesn't prevent me from doing what I'm supposed to do because I'm not going to go wake a resident up like, I want to take care of you. No, they are sleeping peacefully. And a lot of time they will assign people, like they will assign residents, okay, you have like 7 or 8 people to take care of because I was working in a nursing home,
Yeah.
Sometimes God is good. My people are sleeping good. Maybe occasionally one will have issue that you have to go attend to, but pretty much all of them are sleeping. So I will just sit. The most troublesome one that I have, I will put my table by the side of the door. I will be there so that boom, I can dash in and go in. So I will study. I'll do all my assignment. I'll do everything. And that was how I was able to get by with community college. But then when I leave work, I'll go home, I'll take a shower, I'll go to school. School ends pretty much early.
Do you sleep?
In between all of those work that I'm doing. Yeah. In between, it will, you see, you can't do homework all night. You can't study all night. You will become, at the point you become exhausted, and then you can still some sleep, here and there. I mean, it's not really the best sleep because you're not still laying on the bed, but at the same time too, you're not completely tired because you are able to still about 2 hours to doze here and there. So, but it got to a stage that I think I was getting tired of doing that. Like, still, it wasn't enough for me again. I have a family, I have this and that. So I wrote her again a letter that I would like to switch to weekend job. So I always get 40 hours every week. It's 8 hours a day, right? So I said I want a weekend job. And the weekend job, I still want my 40 hours, like, because I need the money. Like, I need to pay the bills. Like, of course, my husband too was working, but both of us need to put hands together. Yeah, the bills don't stop. So both of us put hands together. So I told her that I still want my 40 hours, but it's going to be a weekend shift. So on a Friday, I'm going to work 16 hours. On Saturday, I'm going to work 16 hours, and then on Sunday, 8 hours to make 40 hours. So once I go 3 p.m. on Friday. So I wrote that, and then she approved it.
Wow.
People were like, are you using strange powers? Like, are you making incantation? Like, juju. Are you, like, making incantations to make this thing happen? Like, every single time I wanted a schedule change, this woman approved it. Like, I don't even know how that is because...
Was she approving it for other people?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, no, that's why it is, like, mysterious and miraculous, because she wasn't approving for other people. People will write for... And mostly the shift people ask for are the night shift and the weekend shift. Like, the day shift and the evening shift, people don't really ask for it. In fact, once you come in, as a matter of fact, as a rule of thumb, they put you on day shift. Once they hire you, like, if you say you want to work like night shift or evening shift, they will not even hire you because the need is for the daytime. They have too much people already in night shift, and unfortunately, those are the night shift. They not live in that shift. They stay there because everybody love it. Everybody love to do that. So it's not like people change frequently. Once they are night shift, some people for years they are night shift because it allows them to have their day. It's like you eat your cake and you still have it. Like, you have your day and then the night is quiet. If you work day shift, you are serving 2 meals. Day shift, the breakfast is usually like around 8 a.m. You get there 7 a.m. for day shift, right? So we do breakfast by 8 a.m. and then lunch is 12 p.m. So we do breakfast because, we are CNAs, is a nursing home. Once they bring the carts from the kitchen, they drop it on the floor and every CNA will grab it. You start serving your residents, you feed them. So, I mean, during the day, you are practically always busy. Like, you serve them two meals and then they cannot be wet. Like, you have to change them like at least 2 times during the day. Like, unlike night shift, that it's only like 1 time because they're having a restful sleep. So around, there was zero activity because before we get there in the night, they've eaten dinner. Dinner is 6 p.m.
No, I mean in the daytime they have activities.
Yes, they have activities. They have bingos. They have. I mean, day shifts. There's no way you can't even steal time to do anything. Like, there is just nothing for you. Like, when you finish the job, you're gone. You're like when you're going, you're tired. They have
get somebody who has dementia, some problematic people.
That is the floor I was working on. The floor where you have the Alzheimer's, the dementia. That was my unit. They call it the crazy unit. That is my unit. Yes, you could imagine what you have an idea. You truly have an idea. You can imagine what that is like.
Oh my God.
You truly, if you work day shift, evening shift is still better, but it's still a lot going on. At least you do dinner for them. It will be time for bedtime. You take them to bed. You start showering, changing. So when you work day, but day is the worst. Like, the shift is the worst shift. Not because it's bad, but it's just like you are working for your money. Like, you are strictly working the money. So when I went for weekend shift, I'll go on Friday by 3 p.m. So the evening shift is 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. That's one shift. From 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. that's 8 hours. And then from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. the following morning, that's another shift again. So on Friday, I will work from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. and then I will continue from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. on Saturday morning. So I've made 16 hours. I'll go home. I'll rest a little bit. I'll come back again. 3 p.m. on Saturday, I'll come back. Then I'll make 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. on Saturday. Then I'll make from 11 to 7 a.m. on Sunday. That's another 8 hours. So by 7 a.m. on Sunday, I'll leave again. I'll go home. Sometimes I go to church, and sometimes I don't. You know, it depends on how tired. So now on Sunday, I will now come back 3 p.m. So 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. So 16, 16, and 8 hours. So 11 p.m. on Sunday, I'm like a free man, like a free woman. Like I'm thanking God, like thank God, because Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I don't have to worry about work. So I do school strictly Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah. But once it's Friday, that's my cry day. Like, oh my goodness, the job starts. Yeah. So that's how it was. And that's how, and then it got to a point, then forget about social activity for me. Like I had no social, like I had, if you invite me for like wedding, birthday, naming, whatever thing you invite me for, you will never see me. Forget it, because I'm always working all weekend. So whichever one my husband can go, it will represent the entire family. So I don't, yeah, people don't get it. Like they think you are working too much. No, it's because I don't work from Monday to Thursday and I get all my hours just between Friday to Sunday. But it got to a point, after doing it again for a while, I became tired of it. So I began to call out. Like, I might call out for like 3 to 11 shift. I would say maybe I'm sick or something. Then I will show up for 11 to 7, you know. So one day the DON called me and said, Bumi, you know you asked me for this weekend shift. And when you were asking for it, I didn't want to give you, but I gave it to you. But now you're messing it up because you're calling out on either one shift. How can you be sick from 3 to 11, but from 11 to 7? And it's because I'm tired, you know, so I wanted to sleep or do something. Because I don't have the nerve to call out the entire shift. Not because I cannot, but that's like 2 days worth of job. You're calling out a whole 16 hours, like no. So I will call out one shift, which is usually because you cannot like walk 3 to 11 and tell them that you're sick, you're going home 11. So usually it will be the 3 to 11, you know. So I began to do that often, that it was alarming for her. So she called me and said, go and think about it. What do you want to do? Because we can't have you messing the shift up, calling out 3 to 11, you know. So I now went back and wrote a letter that I want to return back to night shift. Then she gave me the night shift again. Right, so I went from day shift to night shift to weekend. And then, so that's how God just helped me throughout community college. And that's how I was able to maneuver the job. I worked my entire full hours and, you know, be a mother. Yeah, the job was at a pace where I can study with it. Yeah, so that was it.
This is favor.
Yeah, it is. And that's why I couldn't leave that job till I left for pharmacy school. Yeah, when I left pharmacy school, I left the job. I could not leave the job because it was more like God was just making things happen in the way that I was able to cope with schooling. Yeah.
And where do you get your work ethic from? Because it's not easy. It's hard. I don't know how, if you think back, this is difficult.
As in regards to the home front, you know. In regards to the work front, you know, I just knew I have to do it. Because I want to be in school. Like, I want to go to, like, the average Nigerian have, I don't know, it's just like school is embedded in our brain. Like, school is just like, which I don't even know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. You know, honestly, I don't know. Because one time I was talking to an American and I said, you know, because my friend was telling me that the daughter is going to graduate from high school, but she chose not to go to college. She's going to go to cosmetology school and stuff. And she said she's okay with that. So and I said, wow, I love you guys Americans, the way you guys just accept things that are thrown to you. I said, because normally African parents, at least college is like the minimum. Like you want to push them to have like a first degree, even if they would end up doing something else that is not even the degree. And then she told me that you guys are so close-minded. That's the problem. The way that she was telling me, I was thinking about it like, are we so close? Because she said, because you're thinking education is the only way to make ends meet. But then I shouldn't even, the person talking to me is someone that I'm like above. Like I'm the pharmacist, and you are the technician. So like if you have the kind of drive that we have, probably you'll be the pharmacist. So I understand that they are kind of contented sometimes in just being what they want to be. But I don't know if to say the quest for education for a lot of Africans, is it like a positive thing or is it negative? Because the way she talked to me that day, she was like, you guys are so close-minded, like you think everything is all about education, that's the only way to life. I said, no, it's just the way we were brought up. We were brought up to want education. So having that kind of mindset, I knew that I have to have this American education. I know that I'm here to live in America, and I can't do that my job forever. I know a lot of people that I met there, they've been saying it for 20 years, but it's not just something that it's not going to sit well with me to do that. So I knew that I have to work and I have to pay the bills. So there is I couldn't choose one or the other, especially being that we're still new in the country, we're still trying to pull things together. My husband too was doing all this job here and there. He did Domino's driver, he did Starbucks,
You guys hustled.
honestly, it's honestly. So you tell me how somebody doing Domino's and Starbucks then can, sustain the entire family without me working. So it's not gonna work. So both of us have to come together to make ends meet. So it wasn't a choice that I have. I just have to figure it out.
And I also think for immigrants, when we come here, we have, like, because we know where we are coming from and the opportunities that are here. Compared to Americans that are born here, just living here, they feel so relaxed. They don't really worry much, but we know where we are coming from.
Right.
It wasn't easy for us to get here.
To
so
where we are.
Extra hard. But for Nigerians, I feel like compared to all other African countries, Nigerians are doing really well in all arenas compared to everyone else. No shade to Ghanaians. My Ghanaian people, they will come at
Sorry, Ghana.
But Nigerians are doing well. Like if you come to the medical field, most of the doctors are Nigerians. If you come to the nursing field, if you come to even the entertainment field, like Nigerians are everywhere, and they're doing, like, making sure that if we are doing things well, if we're doing something, we have to do it really well.
Really well, that's true.
So I really appreciate it. So let's go into going into pharmacy school.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think I wanted to ask, at what age were you when you started a community college?
I would say I came to America at about, let me look at it. I think I was 27. Yeah, thereabout. Because I had my daughter 25, and then we came. I think I was gonna be 27 the year we came to America. Yeah, so I'm 40 now. This year will make 41. Like when I do my next birthday this year in June, I'm gonna be 41. So I came like 27, and then we are 14 years in America. So if you take 41, because this year is 41 minus 14 we made, so 27 thereabout, right? So if I came to America by 27-year-old, next year we came, I was already in school, so about 28. Yeah.
Wow.
And so about 28, right?
Most people have said I'm too old.
Too old at 28. What?
I know people, like, there are people who have been CNA for like 20 years. They don't have the ambition, like, just going to school in itself when you're young is difficult. Like studying is difficult.
You know, one of the things is, if you study back in Nigeria, we're already used to the culture of vigorous study. Like right from high school, we studied like, I'll be asking my daughter who is in high school now, don't you have things to work on? Because I'll be looking at the way she's so relaxed, doing some funny makeup, doing TikTok. Don't you have things to work on? She'll be like, no, I did all my work in school. No, I don't have no assignment. No. Right from high school in Nigeria, even I have this new guy that works with me, at in the pharmacy. He's in his final year in high school. And I said, how are you able to work? You're still in high school. He said, oh, I only go to school twice a week now because he's graduating high school this year. So he said, I've already gotten all my credits. I only go to school twice a week. In Nigeria, that moment you are in final year in high school is one of the toughest years.
Yep.
You study like the world is going to end. Yep. Because you have some exams, how they have.
Right?
Exactly, we call it WAEC. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you study like crazy.
It's just like SAT, but their SAT here is more like, it's more like, no, not even child's play. It's more like if you want to go to Ivy League school, it's for the big Ivy League. So even if you get a low score in SAT, you can still get your way to other colleges. Except you are targeting like the Yale, the Harvard and stuff like that. So, but it's not like that in Nigeria. In Nigeria, that final year is the year you want to give it your all. I remember I will be studying. Then my mom had she used to have her own private practice, a clinic, beside where this is our house, this is the clinic. I'll go to one of the rooms in the clinic because the house too sometimes is distraction. Oh, wash plates, Boomy, come wash the plates. Hey, go cook the food. Even the parents are distraction. So I would leave that place. I would lock myself up in that clinic, one of the rooms there. So there's something we call ababiochemistry. It's a very big chemistry textbook. I will study. After study, I will pray. God, please help me. This exam that is coming, I will study. So when I look at the culture of how we study and how these children are studying, I don't know. It's just like way different, So that's why the culture of study is already there when you come from Nigeria. So it's really hard for you now to, except you didn't go to college back in Nigeria. Yeah, but if you go to college in Nigeria, yes, you can push through because the culture is already there, So that's one of the things that helped me. Yeah.
So what was the transition from you graduating to from community college to pharmacy school? Was there an exam you need to write, like when you're going to medical school?
Absolutely.
How was the exams?
Absolutely. So that exam is called the PCAT. So the PCAT, so when you finish community college, you do the PCAT. Your PCAT score now dictates if they're going to call you for interview or not. So what we usually do, we choose a lot of schools. So when you do your application, you write your first choice, second choice, no, not first choice, second choice. You apply to several schools, yeah. So because several schools has their own PCAT scores that they want to take, So I wrote the first PCAT, it wasn't so great, then I wrote another one again. So the other one I wrote, it was not bad. It wasn't the best, it wasn't bad, So I was hoping that one way I was going to get. And one thing I always do, when I'm looking for something specific, I always tie a seed to it, So when I knew that this pharmacy school wanted to do it, one time like that, I took all the money in my account. I had like $1,000 and some cents. I took everything. Like I cleared. Now ask me if I can do it. I don't know. Now ask me now if I can do that. No, I don't know. Yeah, but I cleared everything and I put the money in the envelope. And I took it to church and I dropped it. I said, God, pharmacy school, I want to get there. I must get an interview. And even when you get an interview, it doesn't guarantee that they're going to admit you. We've had stories of people, and it's so unfortunate that you keep, bad news spread faster than good news. Yeah. When somebody is not accepted somewhere, it gets around all of us. Oh, this person was rejected. Oh, this person didn't do that. Oh, this person is now doing something else. So it gets fast to us. Even though there are people that are, succeeding in what they're doing, but we don't really get much of that. We get much of the one, have you heard this person? They rejected him. It's not going nowhere. It's not doing pharmacy again. So those things kept coming. And then sometimes I will wonder, like, if I finished community college and I couldn't get to pharmacy school, what is the other choice? Nursing was not a choice for me. I don't have the flair for it. It wasn't something, If I was not doing pharmacy, then the next thing I'll be thinking is medical school. But medical school was way too long for me. Like, I cannot, because after the community college, I have to still go back and get a degree. And then that was too long. If I was much more younger, that would have been like an option. I want something more challenging. I want something more, especially if I go to pharmacy school. It's doctor of pharmacy. That's an easy way to get your doctor, whatever, that's an easy way. Yeah, so I emptied my account, I took the money to church, and I just laid it down and I tied it down to the pharmacy school. So when I applied, some schools called me. In fact, when the first school called me, I was thinking I was going to travel down. This school was in a different, I forgot the state now, West Virginia, I think. Not Virginia. There's a regular Virginia and there is a West Virginia. West Virginia is further away from Maryland. It's quite some hours. So I was gonna, go to that one. Then University of Maryland, Eastern Shore, they called me for interview as well. So I was like, okay, Eastern Shore is closer because the one I was gonna go to was about 4 or 5 hours away from where I was living. Yeah, I applied all over. I even applied to Pennsylvania. I spent money because each time you apply, you're paying different fees and stuff like that. But we just wanted to keep everything open so that one way. So when I went for University of Maryland interview, from the way the interview went, it looks like I was gonna get it. So I canceled. So that was the only pharmacy school interview that I ever attended. It was the school that I went to. There was an inner witness in me that was gonna get it because the person interviewing me, the way we had the chemistry, something in me told me that I was gonna get it. So I canceled every other offer. I didn't go for any. The pharmacy school that I went to was the first and the only interview I ever attended. Even before they gave me the offer, something told me that I was gonna get the offer. So I just didn't care about the other schools again. So as it is, they gave me the offer. So I went there, And then normally pharmacy is 4 years in every other institution. But this particular school is accelerated program. They have accelerated pharmacy. So it's 3 years. So instead of 4 years, it's 3 years. But we don't get luxury of long breaks. Like we only get like a week of break, Like other schools, you can get like a long summer break and stuff like that. But this is like an accelerated program. Like they put it all together. And because of that, the study was, Jesus, it was out of this world. You study like you were going to drop dead. Like we were always studying. And then the school that I went to is University of Maryland, but in Eastern Shore. So Eastern Shore is like in a different side. It's 2 hours drive from where my family was living. It's still Maryland, but it's 2 hours drive, So what we did was, then I dropped out of work. I wasn't working again.
I was going to ask that.
Yeah, because there was no way I was going to combine my work together. And then plus, that pharmacy program was stressful. Like you really need to be studying all the time. So there is no, the one in community college was a child's play compared to what I had to do. So I dropped out of school. So my husband was the only one working. So now he had to man it. He has to shoulder it. There was no way for me to work. So I was in Eastern Shore. We rented another house at Eastern Shore. So it was a 2-bedroom apartment. I took one. My friend took one. It was 2 of us. We knew ourselves from community college, So we were both sharing the rent. So now we were paying 2 rent. We were paying rent where my family and my children. At this time now, I have 3 children. Because between community college, I came with 1 child from America. But while in community college...
Nigeria.
Yeah, from Nigeria, I came with 1 daughter, my firstborn. Yeah, she's 16 now. So she was the one that we came with when we were coming 14 years ago. She was about to be 2 that same month that we got to America. She was going to be 2-year-old. So between community college, I spent 3 years in community college to get all my prerequisites and stuff like that. So between that time, I had the 2 other kids as well. Yeah, so my second born, I had her the same year that we came to America. That was 2010. So we came January of 2010. And then I had her October of 2010. And then the other one, I had him 2014. Just a year before I started pharmacy school, So The family was living in one place. We were paying rent in that place. I was living in a different place. I was paying rent, you know. So how God helped us through that process financially, it was the favor of God. Plus, we have the school loan, you know, the pharmacy school loan. After the school fees is paid and everything, we still got some change left over, maybe like $9,000, $8,000 will be left over, you know. So those money, I'll keep it, pay all my rent for 1 year, so that I don't have to worry about month-to-month rent, you know. So they know that a lot of us are students around that area. So they allow us to pay for a whole year because they know that, you know, a lot of us are not working, you know. And we don't qualify for school hostels because school hostels are for little kids, you know. There is an age limit where you cannot get school hostels. I mean, I'm not even going to get, like, I'm too old for that anyways. Yeah, by this time now, I'm in my 30s that I'm talking about. Yeah, I was already in my 30s, yeah. So you can get school still, and even if I can, I would not, because it's gonna be little kids that are there. And then we were running a different program, like we are running like Doctor of Pharmacy, so we are running a separate program. So we're not even like part of the school. We don't don't even, like, I went to University of Maryland Eastern Shore, but ask me what they do there, I don't know. Like I'm not involved in the other school stuff that they do. It's just the pharmacy part of it, you know. And the only people that we know ourselves are pharmacy colleagues, because the pharmacy school is like away from where these young kids are, you know. So we only know pharmacy students. That's all we know. We only know ourselves. Talking about pharmacy school, it wasn't without challenges. It was a whole lot of challenge.
But hold on. So if your husband was the only one
in the house with the kids, and then sometimes, yeah, he was the only one working, but sometimes we have our parents around a lot of time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there was a time my dad came. Then my dad left, my mom came. Then my mom left, my mother-in-law came. So it's like they were taking turns. Right. Then my mother-in-law left, my sister, my sibling, my younger sister came. So there was always somebody with my husband, because that would have been tough. Yeah.
Like, how?
Yeah, so there was always somebody. Yeah.
So let's go to the challenges in pharmacy school. How was pharmacy school?
Good question. Pharmacy school was a lot of challenges. Like, I mean, the starting part of it. So like I told you, I went to a 3-year school, right? Mm-hmm. So because of that, we do exams back to back. There was always, every 2 weeks, we write a major exam. So it's such that, how should I describe it? We have like a block system. So once you do, say, pharmacology, then you take that, boom, 2 weeks, you stop, there will be a major exam. And that exam is a major exam, like...
You take pharmacology, you finish the entire pharmacology in 2 weeks?
No.
Okay.
You will, no, not the entire thing. They will cover like a lot, like that 2 weeks worth of work is like a month worth of work in another school. They will cover it with, they've already broken it down to block. That's why I say it's block, you know. So once you get to this block, you're stopping, you write exam in that 2 weeks, you know. So every 2 weeks, we write exams. We call them assessments. And those assessments, you need to get 85% to pass. Like if you get 84.3, you fail. And we always write them on a Friday. So every other Friday is assessment Friday, you know. So the way it works, if you fail the first time, you have opportunity to write on a Monday. So you have the weekend again to read everything, you know, to read, and then you write the exam on a Monday. If you fail on a Monday, you come back at the end. On a Monday, if you fail, they'll keep it for you. So you move on with other things. You continue. But at the end of the semester, when everybody is done, like at the end of the entire semester, when we go home, you stay in school, you write it. Now, if you fail it, you are out of pharmacy school. So that's like
You're out for good.
You are out for good for life. Yeah, we had people that they were out. Yeah, so
you don't even go back with the juniors, or you're out.
No, you are out. So you can come back the following year, but you know you can come back the following year. But that's another processing. You have to process like you're coming back to pharmacy school, another school loan. So you just wasted a whole year school loan, because the way they award school loan is every year.
Okay.
So, is it every year or is it every semester. I think it's every year. Oh gosh, I think I forget it. So anyways, you just wasted that entire school loan. So you have to come back, not because we have first and second semester. There are 2 semesters in a year. Right, we have 2 semesters. So if you fail, there's no, oh, I'm coming second semester. No, that year is over. Go do something else. Go get some job. Go do anything.
Would they require you to pay back the student loan?
Of course, definitely. What? Yes. My friend is going through that right now. Like a friend of mine that started pharmacy school but couldn't make it all the way through, challenges here and there. Yeah, she had a school loan and she has to pay, right? I have a friend going through that stuff. Yeah, you have to pay. I mean, whose fault? The government? Whose problem? Who? Yeah, so you have to, you're required to pay it. So those exams, you need to score 85. Then I will write the exam, I will get like 83. I will get like 82. Like I will be so close to getting it, but not, good enough to make 85. Those are worst experience, like terrible experiences, because when you think of how you have to start again to read the entire materials again, and then you are now more scared because now you failed your first attempt. If you go in on a Monday and you fail again, it's more like, for some reason, it's like a battle of the mind.
Yeah.
Sometimes you start losing it in your mind even before you write the exam.
Am I good enough?
So because you feel defeated, especially when you fail it the first and the second time, you feel defeated. That by the third time, the defeat even starts in your mind before you even write the exam. So when you fail the first exam, you are worried about 2 things. You're worried about studying again, and you're worried about having the right mindset, because your mind might be playing, will start playing games on you, stuff like that. So I will go back again, and then every other week, every 2 weeks, I have to come to my family. Like I have to drive down, because that's the only time I see my family. I have to drive down, come home, I'll cook, cook in the fridge, in the freezer, do stuff for them. Those are the 2 weeks. Even though I failed, it still doesn't mean I'm not coming home, because if I don't come home, it's like I want to make them starve or whatever thing. I have to see the children. So I will still come home in that 2 weeks, but it's more like I'm home, but I'm not home. So I'll come home maybe on that Friday, I'll cook quickly, I'll quickly post stuff. And then on Saturday, even though I'm still with them, I'll be in the library. I'll leave the home. I'll go to the library in my area, because I have to leave my school premises, because you can, it's just programmed that you have to go see your family, So I will go to the library. I will study from morning to evening. I'll come to them in the evening. I'll play a little bit with them. As they go to bed again, I'll start studying, So it was like little time with them. As compared to if I had passed on a Friday, I will have the weekend to spend with them. I wouldn't worry about anything, When I go back to school on Monday, I will start my study routine again, So the first, and in each semester, we have 9 of those exams, nine of it. So when I first started, the first time I failed the first one, I failed the second one. And when I'm saying fail, not because I'm not studying, I'm studying the best that I could. We'll sleep in the library. Like when you're tired, we'll put chairs together. Like we don't even want to go to our rooms. We'll put chairs together in the library, we'll study, we'll sleep on the wood, and then we'll wake up again. All those kind of crazy study, We'll get our blanket and go to the library and stay there all night, So it wasn't like I'm not studying, and it wasn't like you're getting poor grades. It's just that 85 is what is needed. So even if you get 84, you tried, but you didn't get 85, Second exam I failed, the third exam I failed. But the good thing, when I write on a Monday, I always pass, The fourth exam I failed, the fifth exam I failed. By the time I got to the fifth, sixth exam, I stopped believing in myself that I could pass on a Friday. Yeah, so it just looked more like a natural thing that I was going to fail. But something told me that, I'm a Christian and I believe in the power of prayer, that I can pray my way through. Because people are passing, like we have people passing on a Friday. Why can't I be like among those people that are passing? Like my roommate, she's always passing on a Friday. And then she will feel sorry for me. She will come to me. She would encourage me. Or sometimes she will not even come because she doesn't want me to feel bad, because she would always pass on the Friday. So I started praying. And then I identified 2 other sisters. They're Nigerians as well, that were in both situations. I'll call them. Then we started like a prayer network together. So I was the leader of the prayer network. So like 3 days to that exam, we start fasting and praying. 3 days to writing our exam. So it's always every other Friday. So Wednesday of that week, we'll start prayer and fasting. And then before the exam, no, we start prayer and fasting till Friday after the exam. Then we don't fast no more. Then on Thursday, we come together. We'll pray. We'll go to like a, sometimes it could be in a car. Sometimes it could be, somewhere that is solitude. But we can have a moment, I'll give the word. I'll share, encouraging words, We have a lot of scriptures, I have the plans for you. We'll share the scripture, then we'll hold hands, we'll pray, we'll agree together that this time around we're going to pass, And something was so confident in me that we have prayed and we are studying. But at the end of the prayer, we'll still go there and fail. 3 of us will still fail. And then we did that kind of prayer network for 3 simultaneous times. So the second time again, we thought, that one was like, let's pray again, Then the 3rd time again, we prayed and we still failed. Then by the 4th time, I didn't even want to call them no more. Like, I felt ashamed. Like, what kind of prayer are you leading? Like, because the way we lead the prayer is more like, yes, we are going in the name of Jesus. We are going there to succeed. It is for us to, we pray that we have the confirmation in our heart that we're gonna pass, but we're not,
So were you the only one who was failing, or everybody in the prayer team was?
So everyone in the prayer team was failing, but by the 3rd time, one of us passed on 1st attempt, but 2 of us failed. Yeah. But the first prayer we had, the first prayer session, everybody failed. 3 of us failed. The second prayer session, 3 of us failed. The 3rd prayer session, the exam of that week, 1 of us passed on 1st attempt, 2 of us failed. And I was the one leading the prayer, that I was the one prompting the prayer. I was the one that would gather us together. And I...
So you're like, this person.
So I said, you know what? Let's leave this prayer team, because partly because I was ashamed of praying and failing. It looks as if I'm not spiritual enough, like I'm not strong enough to lead a successful prayer. Like, at that moment, of course, I'm too far in my Christian life to know that, to think that God is failing me. No, God is not failing me. God is not a failure. But it felt like I'm not spiritual enough to want to be leading such a feat, So that just kind of discouraged me. So I never called for the prayer again, and nobody called for it. Till tomorrow, none of the girls ask me, why did we stop praying, or why don't we pray? It's like you're the one prompting something, and once you stop it, the whole thing dies. That's what it looks like. Like, nobody say, oh, let's pray, or we didn't pray again, or why didn't we pray again? It's more like everybody's just like, let's focus on our failure. So after I stopped the prayer, I honestly stopped praying about my exams, because I totally believe that I will fail on the Friday and I will pass on the Monday. Even though each time I still have, a part of me still have like a wish that I could pass on the Friday. And each time I will cry, I will call my parents at home, I will tell them everything that is happening, or sometimes one of them is always in America, one in Nigeria, because I didn't want both of them to come together so that they can take turn. So one person would come and then go home, the other person will come, So they all know the situation, and they will always sympathize with me, empathize, and pray as well. We are a praying family. They will pray as well. They will tell their men of God to pray and stuff like that. So anyways, one day, that was how the entire semester went by. I never passed one thing at a time. I always passed on a Monday. That's the second time.
First year.
Yeah, the first year, first semester. So the first year, second semester came. Second semester now. The first exam for the second semester, the same thing. I failed on a Friday, passed on a Monday. By then, it stopped bothering me so much. Even though I would still have like the sadness and bitterness, because the way I would study, I would think, this is it. I'm getting it. Every time it always felt like, yeah, this is the one I'm gonna get. This is it. But it was never it, you know. There was one time I remembered I got 84.3. No, 84.4. Yeah, 84.4, and it was 84.46. I remember specifically 84.46, you know. And I cried. I went to Dr. Ponell, one of the doctors. I cried to her. I said, wait, was it 84.46? Because they always round up. So it was 84.43. I mean, to the point, I think if you have 84.5, if you have 84.5, they will give you 85. They will let you pass. Yeah, if you have 84.5, it's more like, you know how they do approximation. Yeah, they will let you. But I got 84.46. So they cannot do double approximation. Yeah, I remember it's 84.46. They cannot do the 6 to the 4. And then, they cannot do. So because I was hoping it's 84.46. You guys can put a 6, round it off to the 4 to make 84. Yes. No. But if you had gotten 84.5, they will let you pass, you know. So it was just by a point something. I cried to Dr. Ponell. I will never forget. And she said, Bomi, I don't know what I can do, but I know you to be a Christian. So I'm going to hold hands with you. I'm going to pray. So she held my hands. She stretched forth her hands. Yes. So she stretched forth her hands and she held my hand and she just prayed for me. And, because I was thinking maybe she would be able to influence somebody to do something about it, but she just held my hands and prayed for me. And I just went without disappointment and crying and stuff. So the first exam, second semester, I failed. The second exam, again, I failed. So when the third exam was coming, one day I was studying. It was time for the third exam. I would never forget. I was studying. At this time, I was not really praying about my exams again, for real. Like, I just resigned to fate. Like, it is what it is, you know. So, but one day, as I was studying, I began to have a voice trying to get my attention. It was kind of loud enough in my ears for me to pay attention. I was studying and I was hearing that there is a voice that is wanting me to pay attention to something. So I stopped studying, I stopped reading. And then the voice told me, he said, you have been praying to me. You've been praying to me that you want to pass your exam. You've been praying to God. You want to pass your exam. How about I tell you a prayer point? How about you say, God, show me how best to study to pass my exam? And it's true. I always say, God, we want to pass in the name of Jesus. Father, grant us success, victory, which is nothing wrong to me. That was a good prayer point, But the voice clearly told me, you have been praying to God, you want to pass your exam. How about I tell you a prayer point? Pray to God to show you how best to study to pass your exam. And I mumbled those words. I did not even pray. I just mumbled those words. I said, God, please show me how best to study to pass my exam. And I began to hear the voice tell me the things to do. Go to the store. Get some highlighters. Now, this is me. I study on my computer because every pharmacy student, once you enter pharmacy school in University of Maryland, Eastern Shore, they will give you a brand new laptop. You cannot come with your own laptop. It doesn't matter what kind of thing you have. If you have Mac or whatever, it doesn't matter. The school would give you, because the one they are giving you, they have programs on it. They're not going to put those programs on your personal laptops. So it's part of the school tuition that we've paid. So they gave us brand laptops because they have programs. In those programs we write our exams. Those programs, once you start your exam, you cannot move between anything. You cannot do nothing. It shuts out everything, So usually I study on my laptop. Like, the laptop itself has highlighters. You can highlight the things you want. The laptop is perfect to study. We have, and our study slides are like PowerPoints, So that's the easy way for me to study. So if I'm studying, I will be using my hand to highlight. And then we have the style, the pen to write on it, So we write on it. You can make little notes by the side. We've learned how to use that computer so good because it's something we use often and often. But the Spirit told me, that's how I know it's God, because the things that would not normally come to my brain. In my lifetime, I don't use highlighters. Like, never. I don't. If you see something highlighted, it's not me. Like, I don't read on paper and highlight. I don't even have time for that. The worst I would do is to be using my pen. I can be studying with pen. If there's an important point, I can use my pen to underline. But I'm not a fancy person that will come with different colors of pencil, different colors of highlighters. No. But the voice told me clearly. He said, go buy highlighters. Go print out your notes. I read on my laptop, but the voice said no. Go print out all your notes. Highlight on your notes. You know, the things that I'm not, that normally I would not do. That's what the voice was telling me. And like a robot, I stood up. I went to the store. I bought highlighters. I went to print out my notes, all my slides that I was studying for the exam. I printed it out. I was following the prompting. You know, I think those are the two promptings that were like remarkable that I can remember. Print out your notes. Print out your notes and use highlight. So I started to study on manual. Like now, I'm studying like I'm in Nigeria, like on paper, as against the laptop. And as I began, and then specifically, the Spirit told me there are some colors I'm going to use. When I'm reading, it will tell me color this in blue, color this in. I began to do that. I started like shading stuff. And that second semester, the second exam, second semester was the last time I failed. That was it. I began to pass. Before, I was only praying to God for 85. At least let me scale through. Even 84.5, dash me 84.5, let me just go. But I began to have honors. Honors start from 95 and above.
Wow.
For you to have honors, it's 95, and it's not common. You know, everyone just want to pass and go. I began to have honors, you know. 4 exams. There was one thing that I did, one of my classmates then. The good thing, I shared this testimony on my social media before, many years ago, and one of my classmates sent me a message. At that time, I still had the message, so I screenshot the message. She said, "How are you doing it? 4 exams, 4 honors. What are you doing?" And I responded back to her. I said, "It is the glory of God. In my days of reassessment, you guys are all there, and I'm so happy that you're sharing the joy." I responded back. I screenshot that portion and I put it on the story, you know, where everybody can see what she sent me and how I responded, you know. I began to have honors to the point that my professors noticed. They came to me to ask, "How did that change? What happened about you?" And then the second year in pharmacy school, that was the most difficult year. You remember we were doing a 3-year program. Mm-hmm. The third year is not much of classroom. The third year is much of rotations. Rotations is when you go on the field, you know. So we have ambulatory, the hospital rotation, the community. Community is the retail, where you go to like the Walgreens, CVS, you know. So we have to do rotations. We have the ambulatory. So now the last year is when we're going to be going to all these places to do your clinicals. You can call them clinicals. The second year in pharmacy school was by all means the most difficult years. Everyone passing in first year was failing in second year. Everyone that was looking up, there was this particular friend of mine. Like, he was one of the people that were looking at the top, you know. And because sometimes I want him to teach me, when I come home for those 2 weeks, I will cook for him. I will cook different kind of meals. As I'm carrying mine, because I don't cook in school, when I cook for those kids in the house and my husband, I'll take a portion of it that's enough for me to, we put it in the fridge. There's no time to be cooking or doing anything. We're always studying, you know. We're just like slaves of study, you know. I will take mine, I will take his, I'll put it, cover it, I'll go give it to him. Like, it's like literally every 2 weeks, because because for me, God has a way of, if there is something I desire, I know how to go about it, that this person would not. Even if you're saying no to everybody, there is a grace, you will say yes. And it doesn't even work with me in some ministries that, you know, I will talk to some people that people are looking on top, and they will respond back to me, even like right now. They will respond back to me, you know. God just gave me that grace. So I knew that I want this guy to be my best friend, like quote unquote, like pharmacy buddies, you know, so that we can, because he was doing well, you know. So I'll give him food, and he will be the one chasing after me. Boomy, come on, we have to study this. But even with all of those things, I was still failing at that time. So when we got to second year, people like that started to fail. Like people like that we were looking up to, they started to fail and decided to have reassessment. So when you fail, we call it reassessment. But the Lord kept me all through those years. I was not just passing, I was on top. It got to a point that somebody came to sit with me. "Can you please show me, what is it that you're doing differently?" I had that question several times during my journey in pharmacy school, you know. And I just give glory to God. So there is one point, because I don't want to take away from what my parent did as well, but later on, I learned about that later after pharmacy school, you know. That was after pharmacy school. So there was a time that my dad was so concerned about me failing and having to reassess. And then he prayed to God and said, God, please, instead of giving 10% of my money as tithe, because of this girl, I will add extra 5%. Every time I have money, I'll pay 15% as tithe. The 5% is for this girl to succeed. So my dad told me, that was much later after pharmacy school that I learned that he did that. So I know that it's a combination of, sometimes you don't know what prayer God answered, what God answered. Is it the one you're praying? Is it the one people are praying for you? You just don't know. That's why the Bible says, cast your seed, upon many waters, because I don't know how to quote it verbatim, but you don't know which one is coming back to you. You understand? So cast them out. You don't know which one. So I don't want to take that away, because they too were there standing the gap in prayer as well, So because my family is like heavy on spiritual. Yeah, so I just thank God, because, and then the process that I went through, first of all, it gave me a new confidence, because I truly lost my confidence when I was praying without, answers and stuff like that. But it brought me on a new level of confidence with God, that yes, God has his prayer. He just has his own ways. He has his own process. And then the experience that I went through, I was able to teach it to other people. Like I remember, the set that came after us, the people that are junior to us in the pharmacy school, when they came in and I told the testimony, part of what I told was one of the ladies, she said, thank you for sharing this, because even though I'm just starting, you have helped me. You've shooted me like up above to know, how to do. And then the time I began to pass, there was a time I was reading less. I'm telling you, everybody knows me in class as a Netflix girl. I watch movie in class. I watch Netflix. The time I was sleeping on wood, like I stopped reading with people. Like before, we would be thinking like we have to be in groups, we have to, and then you don't want people to be saying they are studying somewhere and then you are just by yourself studying, so everybody want to go in that group, group of 5, group of 6, we'll take blankets, we'll be sleeping on woods and stuff like that. I stopped all of those things. I read by myself singularly. I don't have a study buddy. I don't, like, all those things stopped with me. And then when I'm reading, I will watch movie, good movie. I was watching series. Who watched like, series movies, season movies? Like, who born me that to do that when I was in first year? I was watching season movies. I would read for a while. I will reward myself. I will tell myself my reward is I will watch one episode. So I will finish one episode, one episode, like one episode could be like 1 hour. Yeah. So I will watch that. I will stop. I will study again. But who born me before? Like I can't even, like we have no life. Like everybody knows me, because so I was too overconfident that when I studied, there's a way God just pushed you to be overconfident. When they're teaching in class sometimes and it's like I'm not getting it, I'm not getting what they're saying, I'll put my movie, I'll put my AirPods, I'll be watching Netflix. People are like trying to bust their brain, because I was too confident that when I get to that, when I print this paper and I get to that house and I sit on my own chair, it's gonna be revealed to me. I will understand it. So I don't struggle if I'm not understanding from what the professors are saying. If it sounds like junk to me, I don't struggle. I'll put movie. I'll start watching movie.
Did they ever see you doing that? Or
it doesn't matter. My laptop is facing me. The professor is talking. I mean, we all work on laptops, The professor is talking. They don't know what I'm doing, if I'm following or what, But my colleagues, the hall is like this. We sit. So the people behind me, of course, can see what I'm doing, But the professor can't see what I'm doing because they're looking at my laptop up. But my colleagues know, so they know the Netflix girl. Like I'm always watching. I'll just put movie there. I'll be enjoying my season movie. Watch Greenleaf. Watch all this nice season movie. I'll be watching my own thing, because I know that once I get home, all I need is print my paper out, start studying. I will start to get revelation. I will start to underline, and there is no way I'm not. And then when I get to the exam, when I was gonna write the exam, like the day of the exam, there's a particular song I always sing every exam, and that song is I Know Who I Am, I'm Walking in Power. I always sing that because that song pumps me up, just for me to know that I'm going in there. I don't, like, I isolated myself so much that it looks as if they call me chairlady in class. Like when we start the semester, everybody want to sit with people. Like people want to have sitting arrangement because it's like you want to be with a smart person. Like you want to, there's some people you want to be together so that you can be exchanging, oh, what are you doing here? How did you get this one right? Where I sit is the front of the class, you know, like this, the second, where nobody wants to sit, everybody want to go like a little bit behind. And then I'm the only one that will be on the line. Or me and Mesai, or if I'm here, the other Ethiopian guy that will be beside me will be like 7 seats because it's a long, you know, sitting arrangement. I will be here, the next person will be like 7 seats away from me. So we can't even like, so it was like I'm a lonely ranger. Like everybody like, I know, like, because wherever you sit on the first day of class is where you sit to the last day of class. Yeah, because we take attendance every day, like the camera takes attendance. So once you choose your spot the first day of class, you cannot be sitting anywhere you like. You cannot just come today. No. If you don't sit where you sit on the first, it's going to mark you absent. And attendance is very, very mandatory. They can dismiss you for attendance. It doesn't matter if you're a genius. You have to be in class. So on that first day of class, people want to get to school early to start mapping out their sitting down. This is where we want to be. I want to be with this clique. I want to be with these friends, you know. I was never like that, you know. I have this confidence since I started passing that second semester first year. I started passing second semester first year, so I failed first two exams in second semester. That was what I failed, and then by the third exam I started passing, regardless of it. So I don't look for anybody to sit with. I will just sit down and I will just be looking. If I don't understand anything, I don't sweat it. I just go to my room and I study it, and I get it. I never failed again. Wow. So that was just the end of, till we finish all the entire assessment, you know, till we finished, because second year is when we finish writing exams, and then by the third year we start our rotational year. There was no failure again. Even though I did experience something in my third year, but that was my own doing. You know, so by the third year, the school came up with the idea, because by the third year, you're not in school no more. You're not in class no more. Like you are on your clinical practices. So you're not, you know. So we go like different. We go like, for example, you might spend 6 weeks in, or I think it was 4 weeks. 4 weeks in community. You go to the hospital again. You might do 2 hospital rotation for 4 weeks. You know. So the school now said they don't like that process whereby students are not, you know, studying no more, because at that time it's like a free time for us. But they don't want it to be like that. They want us to be in such a way that we are still studying, because after the rotation, after the 10, you graduate, and then you write your NAPLEX. There's something called NAPLEX. So that's what will give you the license to be a pharmacist. So even if you finish pharmacy school and you don't pass the NAPLEX, you're not going to be licensed. Yeah. So you will not be a licensed pharmacist. You cannot practice, you know. So NAPLEX is very, very important, and then we have the state exam as well. So they came up with something that, like every 2 months, we have to come back to school and write like a mock. They will give us like a mock exam. Like they will give us like an exam to kind of mimic the NAPLEX, you know. But it was nothing serious. Like I was feeling like because you're not in school no more, then in 2 months, even some people will not even show up. Some people will not even, because the year before us, the people that graduated before us, they tried to do that thing, but it didn't work. So they scrap it away. Like they tried it with them. It did not work. So those seniors, you know, some of them, they were our friends. They were telling us that, don't worry about that. That's rubbish. They will scrap everything. Da, da, da. But the school kept making us come back every 2 months. It's every 2 months to write the NAPLEX, you know, the mimic board exam. So, but I never took it serious. Like I would just go there empty. Like, you know, it was my clinical year. So I was just going from one rotation to the other. Like it was like you walk in, but you're not getting the money. You understand how that works, you know. So I would just drive to school in 2 months. I would just go bubble in whatever I want to, you know. I was not studying, because my game plan is after my graduation, I will study for 3 consecutive months and go write my NAPLEX. So that was the game plan. So I was not bothering myself to be studying during clinical year. You know, there was, except I have something to study when I was doing my hospital rotation, they gave us an assignment, you know, stuff like, you know, how some preceptor, we call them preceptor, will just be making some funny assignments for you just because you're like on school rotation. So they will just bring out, they might tell you one anti-coagulation clinic, something, they will just give you something that, you know. So except I want to go research what they give us. So I was not studying, but I was showing up every 2 months to write those mimic mock exam. But the seniors had told us that we shouldn't focus on that. That is nothing. It's just rubbish. But at the end of it, when we were supposed to graduate, the school told us that we did not take that thing seriously. That we just go there. Of course, I will not pass. Of course, because I was not intending anything to come out of it. It was not a curriculum. They tried it with the previous year, they failed. And, I was thinking, but the school said, those of us that were not taking it seriously, they will not let us graduate.
What?
Yeah. So when it was graduation, we thought till the last moment, we thought it was a joke. They did not allow us to graduate. They made us to come back and write the mock exam seriously, because they know that a lot of us, it was a lot of us. Even till today, we have like a group where those of us that were affected was in that group, because we complained, we went to the VC, we went to that one to say, it's not part of our agreement, and then they tried with the previous year, and they scrap it, they scrap the whole thing. So every time I go there, I'll just bubble, just attendance to show up, So I would never took it seriously. I never studied for it one day. So now they said, graduation, you guys would not graduate with them. So they made us to come back. So when our colleagues were graduating, the time they were graduating, they did not call our names. Some of us that were affected. So they made us to come back to write the mock exam, to pass it. At that time when they did not allow us to graduate, I knew that it was serious. So I had to go bring out my books and study. I knew that it's more like people misled some of us. Like we were misled to believe that it's not real.
Maybe they decided to make a scapegoat out of
exactly. And do you know that they said after us? I don't even know if they did that thing, because that thing was somehow, it was like, I think it was just our set. I'm not saying that as a fact, but I think they did not do it no more. Because nobody knew what happened to the other set, and then because they have tried it with the set ahead of us and it didn't work. Nobody believed, even people that passed, like nobody would say they would. In fact, it was like people were just thinking, Jesus, and some of us were just going there to just mark attendance and just do whatever. So it doesn't, even if I get 40%, it doesn't bother me, it doesn't concern me. Like I'm just going there to mark the attendance. But now they made it that we have to pass the exam before we graduate. And that was when I went to take out my books, when I started to study again. And then I now went to write the exam with study, and I passed it. So they made us, so our mates graduated in June, so they did one for us in November. So they did our own graduation and stuff for us in November. So we were just a few months behind them. So, but throughout the assessment we were writing in school, I never failed. But this one, it was a curse of nonchalant attitude. It wasn't like I studied and I go there to fail. It was just the belief that it's not gonna, it's nothing. It's just mere nothing. Yeah. So that was what caused that one. So we were just some few months behind, and then by November we did our own graduation. So that was the thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right now you're a pharmacist.
By the grace of God, I know.
How many years have you been practicing for?
So it's been since 2018. So how many years is 2018 till now?
So it's been like 4 years.
It should be more than 4 years, about 5 years. 2019, 2020. Okay, so I got my license in 2019. Yeah, don't let me forget that part. I finished pharmacy school 2018, but I got licensed in 2019. Yeah, February of 2019. Yeah, and the reason why my NAPLEX was delayed was because, I told you that we got our certificate in November. You cannot write NAPLEX before your certificate because they need the number on the certificate, they need the certificate, you need all those things. So I got my certificate in June. I would have still got my license in 2018 because from June to, I would still have ample. At least after graduation, you need about 3 months for intensive study before you go write the exam because you don't want to fail. And I passed my exam one attempt, the NAPLEX, Some people will pass like second attempt, but it was a one attempt. So I got my license, I got my certificate in November of 2018, and then by February of 2019, I went to write my exam, and I passed, yeah.
Wow.
So from 2019 to now, I've been practicing pharmacy, yeah.
Wow. You've worked really, really hard.
That's 2020, 2021, 2022, 2020, so 5 years, yeah, 2024.
5 years.
Yeah, in fact, it's exactly February of 2019 was when I got my license. So it's exactly 5 years, February.
Would you say all the hard work has been worth it?
Definitely, it's been worth it. Yeah, maybe now that IT is a thing now. When we first came to America, IT was not a thing. So, because I wanted to say what else would I have been doing, but maybe if I just arrived to America like today, I would probably not use all those years to study because that was a lot of years. So I used 6 years to study, to become a pharmacist. So, but now people are doing certification of, even though it's not like a forever job, mine is forever job security. Yeah. As long as I have my pharmacist license, which I pray I'm going to have, like, because you could get damaged, things could happen, but I don't pray that, As long as I have my pharmacy license, I'm like forever secure to have a job. But IT, people will run out of job and get another one and run out of, this contracts here and there, that's just the only downside of it. But I know people in IT are doing well. So maybe if I come to, like, if I want to reverse everything back and I just arrived to America today, I think I'll go into the field of IT because that's like a quicker field to making good income. Most of them will have like 2 jobs working from home, So I think that's the only thing I can think of, but.
What encouragement would you give to someone who just came to the country and they don't know where to start, and they feel like, man, I'm getting too old. Maybe I should just stick with this warehouse job.
Oh wow.
Man, I'm here. I don't have a place to live. I'm living in someone's apartment. But I'm doing a better job back home.
Back home. So the advice is gonna be like it's not one size fit all. It depends on where you are, when you came from, whatever country you came from. So first of all, I would love whoever is listening to like remove the notion that you cannot carry on whatever you have from Africa to America. So it depends on what it is. So what is it that you are doing? Is it something that is a transferable skill? Then look for how to transfer the skill and just like leverage on the skill you already have. If it's something that is not transferable, there is nothing, I'll suggest, that you don't think you are too old because this is America. When I was in community college, we have people in their 50s. People that are way, way older. We are all in class together. Mostly they were studying for nursing. Most of them are nurses studying for nursing programs, We have people that became a nurse in America in their 50s, in their 60s. So I don't think America is not Africa where you just think, oh, you from high school to university. No. So it's a land of opportunity. And especially, I don't want anyone to think they can not attain, their goal. I know it takes dedication. Like you've listened to my story, it wasn't something that you sleep and wake up and just get it. No, it's dedication. But never, ever, ever feel like you are too old, number one. And never, ever feel like you cannot transfer your skills. Whatever skills you are bringing, especially even if you have like some handcraft skills, like decorations, like wedding decors, like event planning, find a way to, this is a social media age, create an account, find a way to integrate those things, bring it to America. That will be worthwhile. These people charge us a lot. When we do parties, they charge us a lot. So just don't resolve to believing that America is this. No, it is what it is that you want it to be for you, I met a guy I was speaking with like about a week ago. We were just having a conversation and the guy told me that he's been in America for 30-something years. He said he came when he was 17 and now he's like 50-something year old. 30-something years, I was almost going to ask, like, because the kind of job he was doing, I was like wondering in 30-something years, I don't want to mention specifically, it's not that person, if that person ever watched this video, it wouldn't be related to them, But the kind of job he was doing, because he came to do the deliveries when I met him and we were talking. He was a Nigerian and we got talking and he said, oh, I've been in America for 30-something years. And I wanted to ask, like, what have you been doing with your life? Like, this is something that somebody just coming to America will be kind of, if, for example, you are a Domino's driver, for example, you've been in America for 30-something years and you're still a Domino's driver. I just use Domino's, for example. That's what it felt like. But I didn't, because the person we were talking, I was with my white coat, and if I was not like, if I was just my regular clothes, I would have had more conversation to know how are you still where you are. But I didn't want to like shame, like work shame the person, like to be saying, oh, so what are you doing all this too? Yeah. So I couldn't ask those questions, but my mind was asking that question in my mind. I was like, if you have been that so long, so you don't want to be that person that the only testimony you can tell is being in America for 40 years, for 35 years, but the things that you are doing is not reflecting that you've been in the country for such a long time. You know, people are coming in 2 years ago, 4 years ago, doing amazing things. So don't let your life slip by you. You know, life is short. Before you know it, now I'm 40 something. Before I know it, 50, 60. Don't let your life just be a shadow. Like, so go after it. Don't listen to the voice of your mind. I'm not saying you have to go to school, not necessarily school, but you know, maybe some certification, maybe some programs, you know, some quick 1 year programs, certification for 6 months, 3 months, 1 month, you know, do something to enhance who you are. So that's one thing I would say, right?
So for anybody who is in school and they are struggling, especially with exams, and they feel like they can't make it, they feel like they're not good enough, they feel like they're not smart enough, what advice would you give to them?
Struggling, that word is relative. Like, are you struggling because you don't know anything you're doing, or
they are studying, but they feel like they are still failing exams like how you were failing.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's why. But you know, I was failing and passing the next time. So are you failing? Because if you fail, you have opportunity to always, you know, take the course and repeat it. You know, I have a friend. You say I always have a friend for every situation. I don't say I have a friend. Truly, I have a friend, but it just occurs to me like I almost have a friend for everything. Yeah, but I had a friend that we were in nursing assistant program together when I was doing CNA. You know, she has been in America way before me, and she started the nursing program, and she was always failing. In fact, she had not even gotten to the nursing program. She was taking a prerequisite, and then she would fail, and she would take a gap like 1 year of not going to school, and then I would keep talking to her like, you know, you can't just fail yourself. Man, it took her the longest time. I won't lie. It was last year she graduated nursing school. This is something that a journey that we have started together, like way. Like I had finished pharmacy school, I had forgotten that I went to pharmacy school, and she graduated nursing school last year. She sent me her picture, she sent me everything, and I almost fell flat on my face because I knew the challenges she went through. Like, she went through a lot. I know that sometimes she would stop. Like, she was not. At the time, she was asking me, like, can you just be teaching me math? Because there was a basic math that she has to even get to the nursing program. There was a basic math, there was a math, I forgot the math now, that she has. I think it's algebra, yeah. And she would even ask me, can you come to my house and teach me? I said, I don't mind, bring it to work, anything. Let us walk through it, you know. And, you know, coming together from those times I've been in school, and I finished a community college since pharmacy school since 2018, and she's just graduating last year, like 2023, you know.
So it's been like how many years? Like
she's she started even before I started school. She started way before. I knew that some of her classes will even expire and she would have to, because she was just dragging the whole thing. And I will ask her again, where are you at with this thing? And she'll be like, I don't understand. I don't think I can do it. You know, we'll talk about it again. She will do some classes again at her pace and everything. But, you know, it took her a longer time, but she graduated, you know, and she's a nurse now. So I would say it depends. If you think that whatever you're doing is too challenging and you're not passing at all, then consider something like, maybe you're doing nursing, then maybe consider physical therapy or something like, maybe but don't stop. You know, there's something that says even if you are moving slow, keep moving. Yeah. My friend definitely moved slow because we were already like forgotten about. And I even have another friend. He's a pharmacist now. I think one of these days he should share his testimony. Just that he traveled away from Maryland. I would have recommended him for this. He wrote a Snaplex several times that he almost got into depression. My mom knows the person I'm talking about. My mom knows that my friend wrote that exam. We have been pharmacists since when? We have forgotten that we went to pharmacy school. And it's only we went to pharmacy school together. He just got his pharmacist license 2022. Wow. 2022, the day he got it. Hey, Jesus Christ. The day he called me and said I got it, because he got to a stage they stopped him from writing the exam. He has to, when you write repeatedly for a while, you will stop for a period. You have to go and revisit some things, and then you come back to write. I thought he was going to give up. And he has no other job. He has used all his life to want to study from. My mom knows this person very well. When he got tired, he was doing Uber. Because there's nothing else again. He's this pharmacy. But he kept failing the exam. I will sit him down. Are you failing because your mind is defeated? I said, I'm not thinking that you're not smart enough to pass this exam. But each time you want to write, you are defeated. This is what I'm saying. I will tell him and tell him. He will say, he will agree with me that when he sits down, the fear that will grip his mind, the fear of failure, and eventually will fail. When the Lord delivered them, 2022, we went from school together. We will finish since when? 2018. I got my license 2019. This is the person that just got licensed 2022. So people do face challenges. I do acknowledge that. However, giving up is what. I mean, what does it cost you to keep trying? Yeah. But when you give up, that is just the end of it. Imagine my friend now gave up, and then he even got a good job. First of all, he got a retail job, and then he said he didn't want a retail job again. He got a job with federal government, and I'm still there even doing my retail. So the thing is, if you give up, you have everything to lose. Yeah. But if you keep trying, you have nothing to lose, because one day you're gonna nail it. So I don't subscribe to, because it says winners don't quit and quitters don't win. Yeah. So do not quit, because then you don't even have a chance of winning. Give yourself a chance. That's what I would say. Yeah.